This is the Retirement Bullpen with Richard Warner. The team at Warner Financial Solutions want to help you feel confident about your retirement, no matter where you stand. Get more at warnerfinancialsolutions.com. Now, the Retirement Bullpen.
All right, we're jumping back into the Retirement Bullpen. Yes, the gate is open. The manager's tapped his right arm. Or I guess, or Richard Warner, are you left-handed? I don't know. Are you right or left-handed?
I'm a righty. That's a good question, though.
Okay, he's tapped his right arm in, and you just heard the voice of Richard Warner, the host of the Retirement Bullpen podcast, retirement income certified professional at Warner Financial Solutions in Auburn, Nebraska, outside of Omaha. Get in touch with Richard and the team, 402-274-9185. 402-274-9185, or you can hit the contact button on warnerfinancialsolutions.com. And by the way, when you're on warnerfinancialsolutions.com, you can subscribe to the newsletter and you can hit the Meteor podcast page and subscribe to the podcast too. They come out roughly every 2 weeks. And last time we were in the studio, Richard, we talked about how tax strategizing or tax preparation is a year-round affair. And we also talked about how annuities interface with taxes. Today, we're going to get into scams. But before all of that, Richard, we were talking offline before we turned the red button on here. What's been keeping you busy lately?
Well, we just finished up spring high school season. Team did the best it's ever done before. And unfortunately, we got walked off in the bottom of the seventh in the district championship. We were just a play or two short of going to the state tournament. So we're kind of in between seasons from high school to Legion, catching up on a few things, work-wise, catching up on a few things.
Yeah.
Yard work-wise, all sorts of things to get accomplished this time of year. So just keeping busy.
'Tis the season. And I know the weather in the Midwest has been rough, and I think we even talked about that on our shows we did in the last month. Has the weather thrown the baseball schedule for a loop at all?
We've actually been really dry.
Okay.
We had a couple of weeks ago, where we had 3 or 4, maybe 5 days that were kind of misty, and a couple of those days had a decent amount of rain. Most of it's been going south and east of us.
Okay, good.
But I mean, it's like drought conditions, though. It's like really, really dry. So it's almost the other type of worse here, at least in most of Nebraska. Like we could use some rain. It's actually a hot topic in the little community I live in right now. We won't get into that because there was just a big meeting the other night, and a lot of people are hot about it.
Well, it's the Cornhusker State, and what made corn, what made whiskey? Rain. Okay, so God made rain. All right, we need to get some of that falling into the great Nebraska there. Let's get into the topic today. We're going to use basically just a low-hanging fruit, like pop culture sports topic, to seek into something that is really very important. And of course, Shedeur Sanders' draft status was very important to a lot of people, not to mention the least of which being the Sanders family, okay? And basically, as we know, he got drafted not on day 1 or 2, but day 3 of the NFL draft. Well, I believe on day 1, his phone rang, and it seemed like it was the GM of the New Orleans Saints, but it was not, Richard. I think you've heard this story. Mm-hmm. It was the son of my home team, Atlanta Falcons defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich, who got Shedeur Sanders' number off of his dad's iPad, because every team has access to the draftees, right? And they got the number off and pretended to be to the University of Colorado Star, pretended to be that GM, and acted like he was going to get picked by the New Orleans Saints, which, by the way, side note, might have been a good pick for the Saints, considering their star QB just retired and left $30 million on the table, Derek Carr. But nonetheless, what seemed like a fun joke at the time has now cost the Atlanta Falcons $250,000. Sure, Arthur Blank is happy about that. And Ulbrich himself has been fined $100,000, which I would just pass that right on to my son if I was him. But nonetheless, it brings to mind to me about scams. But before we get into scams, I want to try to have a little fun, Richard, and I'll think of something on my end. Did you ever pull any good prank calls as a kid or yesterday? I don't know. Did you ever have any, or any that got pulled on you? I'm talking pranks, not scams here.
I can't think of one off the top of my head. I'm sure I did, because I've always been kind of a prankster. I'm sure I did. About the time we go off air here, I'll probably remember one. But I can't. Do you got a good one, Doug?
I'll tell you. Here's the one that I was the biggest dope on. How about that? And okay. I won't say what I said, but it was something inappropriate. All right, when I was in high school, and I prank called what I thought was another student's room. I was in orchestra. We were on an orchestra trip in Daytona, and I thought I saw a student come in and out of this one room. I thought I did. Obviously I had this wrong. You'll see why. And so I called that room and just, talked to this real creepy voice and said something real creepy. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the person on the other end of the line, it was another teacher that was a chaperone on the trip. And they said, this is so-and-so. And if I find out who this is, you're getting sent straight home. And my soul almost left my body because I would not want to prank call the teacher and do that, especially if it meant getting in trouble. And I was just messing with somebody I knew, right? So we all cleared it up, and it wasn't the orchestra director, but Mr. Voles is great to me. He had me kind of admit it to the other teacher. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I really thought you were a student. And they were sitting in the hot tub laughing about it. So that's the one where a prank call almost got me put sideways too. So that's something we got to be careful with, obviously, how we use our phones and our communications. But it's also really easy, Richard, for you to think you get this text message and it says you owe taxes or tolls. That's been a big one lately. Or you get a phone call and it sounds just like your grandson. This happened to my grandmother. Sounds just like your grandson. Hey, I'm in trouble here. I need you to wire me $10,000 or else they're going to arrest me, or, something like that. And especially if you're lonely or you're just a little bit anxious or vulnerable, you can really fall for these easily, Richard. And I'm sure you advise people against this all the time. So what things should people look out for?
So I'll start by sharing a couple of real life examples without using names, obviously.
Yeah.
Known some people. Actually, I've known several people who've got the grandson call.
Yeah.
I've had several people mention that one to me, and the couple of them have almost fallen for it because it kind of sounds like their grandson. They knew some very specific things. Needed some money because of this or that reason. But so far nobody's fallen for that one. But I did run into a lady one time. Well, not literally run into her, but I knew a lady who had an experience. And unfortunately she did get pranked big time. And it was a very expensive prank. We won't use specific numbers, but she received a call as an individual posing as a U.S. Marshal calling on behalf of the Social Security Department.
Oh.
What he told her was, in essence, he told her, hey, somebody has been taking funds from your Social Security account. Not literally receiving her check, but taking funds from her Social Security account.
How would that even be possible, by the way?
Well,
but
exactly. I mean, she doesn't have this hypothetical Social Security account, but she didn't know. And so this U.S. Marshal is explaining this to her, and basically what it came down to is he told her, if you don't pay X amount of dollars back into the system, here in a few months, you're going to stop getting your Social Security check. And so she went down to the bank, she got a money order, and she sent it to this address in Texas. It was a large amount of money, okay? Most of your jaws would drop if you heard how big. This wasn't a couple of $1,000s. This was a big chunk of change. Anyways, how she shared this with me, and I tried to explain to her a couple of things. She shared it with me the day after, and I'm like, well, can you cancel the money order? Whatever. It was like something to that effect. And she's like, unfortunately, I figured out too late, and I've tried, and I can't do anything about it.
Oh, no.
And in her situation, it didn't hurt her per se, you know what I mean? But it's one of those things like that was a big time scam that sounded legit.
Yeah.
The guy that called her had some very knowledgeable pieces of information about her situation, about federal marshals, all this kind of stuff. Like they sold her on it. And I think we've got to be really, really careful. I mean, I get emails, I get texts like you're talking about, you alluded to it all the time. You need to do this, you need to do that. And they look legit. I'll get one every now and then. And it's like, wow, I think I might have an issue here. And then I find out it's just, it's just another scam. So we just have to be very, very careful about any phone call, any text, any email. They tend to be more email and text these days, but people are still working the phones, and it works from time to time. They're making money doing it, obviously, because they keep doing it.
Now, as our technology has gotten better, and it'll put things up that say scam likely on the caller ID.
Yep.
All right. as our technology has gotten better, so have the fraudsters' technology. That's why they can still work the phones. You can use AI and learn just about, or just use the depths of the internet and find out just about anything in any profession, and a lot of data about ourselves. I mean, hey, we know our data is for sale on the black market a lot of times, right? So there are all sorts of things that can make the crooks sophisticated. So let's talk about specifically, Richard, getting contacted by the government, because a rule of thumb I often hear from government entities is, hey, if you have an issue with us, we're not going to send you a text or an email about it. In fact, I think the IRS's protocol, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, is no, we're going to mail you a letter. We're mailing you a letter. All right. If you get a call from us, you will be expecting a call from us.
Correct.
Are those good rules of thumb, particularly with taxes?
For taxes, yes. There is one scenario we've run into where they actually do or have sent an email. I don't know if they're supposed to, but through what we do, we help a lot of individuals just through the process of enrolling in Social Security. Yeah. Because they've never done it before. Yeah. There's a lot of confusing questions. So we'll sit down with somebody, they'll log into their Social Security login with us, and we'll just help them answer those questions. But what will happen is, at least this has happened a few times, is Social Security will try to reach out to that person via phone, and the person won't answer. And that's not unusual for enrolling in Social Security. So then they will follow up with an email.
Okay.
And that's what really tricks people or triggers people to think, well, is this some sort of a scam? Every time I've seen an email come, it's usually, in that situation, it's usually followed a phone call because they've initiated a phone call to the Social Security recipient. They didn't return the call. A few days later, they send an email out saying, hey, I tried to call you. We need to verify some things to get you set up with Social Security. One thing I have found to be true, when they call back or they respond, they're not going to need a lot of private information because they're already going to know it.
Okay.
One tip, I think, that can help people when they're getting scammed is if the person on the other line doesn't seem to know a lot about your specifics, especially when it's somebody from Social Security or Medicare or something to that effect. But your example with the IRS, in my experience, is also true. They're always going to just mail you a letter.
Yeah. Which is a reminder to millennials like me to actually check the mail sometimes, because 99% or maybe 90% of my mail is junk. But anything that looks remotely not junk, I'm like, okay, I'll at least take this upstairs and open it. You know, I live in a condo. The rest of it I recycle. So that's a good point, is there are official documents, you know, that your driver's license gets mailed to you, things like that, where you've got to be looking for those.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, too, if you're not expecting a package and you get an email that says tracking order for package, just immediately report it as phishing. If you get an email and you're not 100% sure it's from Amazon or from whichever, I'm not picking on them.
Yeah.
Don't click on any links in it. As soon as you click a link, that could be a Trojan horse into your computer, right? And we know how critical our computers are. Immediately, everything is suspect after that. So basically, when I've discussed this before with other advisors, I like to say this is something my pastor uses from more of a morality standpoint or a life standpoint, but I think it's true here. Pay attention to the tension. If you think there's even a 1 or 5 or 10% chance that this call just doesn't seem right, I don't remember driving in a toll zone. Do we even have those in Nebraska? You know, like whatever it is.
Not really.
Exactly. And this happened. My mom texted me. This has been all over the news, and she texted me about this toll thing. What do you know about this? I'm like, wait, what did you do, Mom? No, I was a traffic reporter. No. But pay attention to the tension. If it seems just a little bit out of place, don't just go pay the thing. And I think, Richard, the last point I want to ask about you, it is okay to check in with a financial advisor who probably has seen something similar to this before and has helped coach people, right?
That is exactly right. I get that call a lot. Actually, before our recording this morning, I got a similar call.
No way.
About some mail that they received. Do I need to respond to this? So sometimes even the mail can be fraudulent. Obviously, they can send you stuff in the mail to try to get you to call.
Yeah.
And is it always fraudulent? No, sometimes it's more just to get you on the phone and sell you something. So I wouldn't necessarily call it a scam per se. But if you end up buying something you didn't want in the end, it kind of is. So yeah, reach out to somebody if you're not sure. Right. Get a second opinion on something like that, I think is what you're alluding to, Doug.
Yes.
Is because we, in my office, we see this a lot, and I'm sure other advisors see this a lot as well. Your CPA probably sees this a lot. There's all kinds of different people you can call in this situation, but get a second opinion, especially before you make a mistake like this lady I knew made, and it costs a lot of money.
Right.
Some people can't afford that experience, and it can blow up a retirement real quick when you send a money order for that amount of money.
Yeah, think about it. You made this beautiful plan. All right. I say beautiful because you like it. I'm not guaranteeing it's beautiful. Okay. You made this retirement plan to the T, and you planned all the way out to age 100. You've done all of this stuff. And while you're supposed to have emergency funds, that's what goes to long-term care insurance or to replacing the HVAC or the roof. It doesn't need to go right into a crook's hands. And wouldn't you rather that 5 or 6 digit sum of money go to your children? If you have a question about anything, just something that looks a little bit off, or I don't know, is Amazon.edu. That's weird. No, whatever it is. It's not, by the way.
That's a good hint.
402-274-9185, 402-274-9185, and let Richard Warner and the Warner Financial Solutions team have a second look at it. And while they're having a second look at that, complimentary comprehensive first review of your retirement portfolio too, and make sure that is lined up, because sometimes there's extra fees or tax inefficiencies or things in there that Richard and the team can look at. And if you want to schedule that meeting virtually, this is the real website, okay, for real. It's warnerfinancialsolutions.com, not warnerfinancialsolutions.org, warnerfinancialsolutions.com, okay? That's the real one. And you can find also the Retirement Bullpen's past episodes on there. If you hear something you think people in your circle need to know, send them the link. Make sure they know about it. And you yourself be sure to subscribe, because these episodes come out roughly every 2 weeks. We don't want you to miss one there. Also, Warner Financial Solutions is on Facebook. You can check out, they put a lot of content there, including promoting the show, which y'all do a good job of doing. I appreciate that, Richard. So thank you for making the time in between baseball games, turf replacement, and your very important clientele to speak to us. We thank you, sir.
Hey, thanks for having me. Great to be here, Doug.
The honor is mine, and thanks to our producer, Brandon Benefield, for putting this all together and getting it published. This is the Retirement Bullpen here, and Richard Warner is a retirement income certified professional and would love to help you out at warnerfinancialsolutions.com. I'm your co-host, Doug Turnbull, and we'll have another episode coming your way here shortly. Thank you for listening to the Retirement Bullpen, and have a great day.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Warner Financial. Warner Financial is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Warner Financial are not subject to investment advisor requirements. NPN number 7617022. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be considered as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Warner Financial is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Warner Financial. Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA. IPW provides services without regard to political affiliation, and the views of the individual advisors are not necessarily the views of IPW.